Hi everybody, welcome to this month's tutorial, spot reduction. Spot reduction is probably the oldest myth in the fitness industry. It's been around for about 30 years. Basically, spot reduction is the idea of trying to lose fat from a specific body part by doing a specific exercise. The most common obviously is doing sit-ups to lose your tummy. Even though most people tell me they don't believe in spot reduction, they still keep on asking me the same questions. Men ask me, Hilton, how do I get rid of this fat on my stomach? Women ask me, Hilton, how do I lose the weight off my hips and thighs? Unfortunately, these misconceptions are perpetuated by the media and the lay press. Then we get these infomercials selling these abdominal exercises that are supposed to burn fat off a specific area in your body. Or even worse, we get uneducated trainers prescribing exercises to tone up certain body parts. This just all adds to the misconception of spot reduction, toning and firming. Common sense. Just think about it. If spot reduction were possible, there wouldn't be one man in the world with a big belly, nor one woman in the world with a big bum. We would just eat what we wanted, do specific exercises before bed, and our problems would be solved. Another example is a marathon runner. If spot reduction were possible, marathon runners would have very skinny legs, because that's all that's working. All the fat would be on their torso. They would look alien-like. Let's say you joined the gym and all you did was thousands of sit-ups every day. Would you end up with rock-hard chiseled abs and fat on your arms and legs? Obviously not. If you could spot reduce, people with chewed gum would have skinny faces. Let's take a look at the physiology of fat loss. When you take in less calories than you burn, you lose weight. Weight loss is all about calories, period. That's a scientific fact. Now, where the fat comes off cannot be controlled by a specific exercise. You burn fat when the body releases certain hormones into the bloodstream. Within a few seconds, these hormones achieve an even concentration throughout the entire bloodstream. Adipose tissue, fat cells, are stimulated simultaneously to release their fat. So fat comes off evenly throughout the body with very small genetic differences. The idea of spot reduction means that the hormones released would travel through the bloodstream to the exact fat tissue surrounding the specific muscle being trained and act on the fat cells at that localized area. This is physiologically impossible. I love this slide. Types of fat. We have adipose tissue all over the body. The main function of fat is our storehouse for energy. There are two types of fat. Number one, visceral fat, which is fat surrounding the organs. Look at number one. Number two is called subcutaneous fat, and that's fat under the skin. See number two. About 80% of our body fat is subcutaneous. The CAT scan on the left shows the differences in fat storage. The top image is a CAT scan of the midsection, and the bottom image is a CAT scan of the upper thighs. The person on the right has over 35% body fat, while the person on the left has 15% body fat, and these people weigh the same. Not only does a person on the right have more subcutaneous body fat, but they have more visceral fat, which is a fat with the serious health. Storage areas. Men and women, and even different ethnic groups, store fat on different areas. Women generally store fat around the buttocks and the thighs, called the pear shape. Men generally store fat around the midsection, the apple-shaped. Certain ethnic groups may store fat differently. For example, we all know Jennifer Lopez is known for her large bum and petite upper body. Look at the picture. Here are some terms I've heard. Saddlebags, chicken wings, muffin top, beer belly, droopy bar, love handles. So what's the name you've given to your troubled area? Losing fat. When we're in a caloric deficit, fat loss occurs. But where the fat comes off, we now know we can control. Many physiologists compare fat to layers of an onion. Rather than coming off from one particular area, it comes off layer by layer from the whole body. When I do competition, I lose fat everywhere. My fingers get thinner, my face gets narrower, even my shoes feel looser as my feet get smaller. Because of this phenomenon, it may initially, for example, look like you're losing weight off your face first, but you're not. It's just because you cannot notice it around your tummy because you have so much more to lose on that area. Exercise myths. So sit-ups don't make your stomach flat, nor do lunges make your legs thin. Although these exercises are great and are good for you, and will strengthen up the area being trained, they won't firm you up. The fat will remain on these areas unless you lose body fat by eating less than you burn. I always tell my female clients that they have a bum like Cindy Crawford that just can't see it. The fat surrounding the muscle doesn't belong to the muscle. It belongs to the entire body. A quick story. I remember years ago, our gym got this machine called the Butt Blaster. There were queues and queues of people waiting to use it in the beginning. Then after a few months, everyone stopped. Their butts got bigger. If you work your bum, it'll get bigger. If you want a flat stomach, don't train it. If you train your abs, they will grow. To get a fat stomach, lose the fat that's covering it. The stomach's already flat. So exercises like sit-ups, lunges, leg lifts, they're great for working the area and for burning calories, but they won't firm up or tone the area being worked. Another myth is doing high repetition. And finally, toning and firming. Let me explain the term toning and firming. When I first heard this word, I didn't understand it. I looked through all my academic texts and couldn't find its definition. The only relation I found was toneness, which means a low level of muscle contraction. So everyone is toned. A muscle loses its tone when it becomes paralyzed. So when people say they want to firm or tone an area, they really mean they want to lose fat on that area and strengthen the muscle. You can't firm fat. If you lose fat around a certain body part, it will appear firmed and toned. It's the fat that gives it the flabby look. Firming and toning is just another one of these marketing terms. Summary. So don't waste your time doing specific fat loss exercises. Make sure your workout burns lots of calories if you want to lose fat. If you're in a caloric deficit, the fat will come off. You just can't control where it comes off. Continue in that deficit and the troubled areas will eventually improve. But just remember, because of genetic differences, your body part may not look like the athlete you aspire to.